Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the third and final episode on gardening terminology explained. So today we're going to talk about kind of a trifecta, we're going to talk about three terms that all are used kind of around the same concept, but really no one ever knows what they are. This is going to be a quick one, but it's going to help out a ton of people because this has the most confusion around it, and I can totally see why. So the first word we're going to talk about is perennial. What is a perennial? Well, a perennial is any plant that basically comes up, dies back in the winter, and will re-sprout in the summer. It's not an evergreen, but an evergreen can be a perennial. So basically, like, let's talk about strawberries are a good example, or roses are perennial. Pretty much anything that will die back, look dead, but in the springtime say, I'm not dead, don't pull me out, I'm going to sprout again. That is a perennial. Now, perennials are zone sensitive, so let's say a perennial that is perennial for zone 7, or let's just say Florida, for example. If it's a perennial for Florida, it might not be a perennial for Michigan. So if you plant it up in Michigan, the climate might not be right for it to come back in the springtime. Sometimes the winters are just too hard, sometimes they're too cold, and it does kill the plant off. That's not to say that if it was planted in Florida, it wouldn't come back. So it's basically, again, just a plant that you plant. It will look like it's dead, but it'll come back in the spring. Now the next word is annual. Annual is a plant that you plant once. When it dies, it's done, and you have to plant it again. So things like tomatoes or peppers. Those are things, or even basil or lettuce. You plant it, when it dies, it's dead. It's not coming back. So those are pretty much a lot of your vegetables that you get. You can have some that are perennials, but most of your vegetables are going to be ones that you plant. You plant for the summer. When the fall comes, kills it off, you have to plant it again in the springtime. So there you go. That's a very simple explanation. And also, annuals can be grown pretty much anywhere, assuming the climate is long enough to get it to mature. So you can plant the same annual in Florida as you can Michigan, which is a great benefit for people that have those climate swings. Now the very last term is biannual. Biannual is a little more difficult because of the fact that it has to do with when it flowers. It is actually a perennial in disguise. So oftentimes a biannual is mistaken for a perennial. However, not all perennials are biannual. So you see what I mean? So all biannuals are perennial, but not all perennials are biannual. Hopefully that makes sense. Things like onions, for instance. Onions will grow every single year. However, it's on the second year that they provide a flower or provide seed. This is really crucial for people that like to save seed because oftentimes onions will grow their first year, form a big bulb, and then if we harvest it, we've eaten the bulb and that's fine. But if we leave it in the ground, the greens will die back and then they'll sprout in the springtime, but they'll form what's called a scape. That scape is a flower bulb that will provide seed for you. So that is what's considered a biannual. It needs a dormancy period and then to sprout in the springtime in order to provide those seed. Another one is tulips. Pretty much anything with a bulb that will die back to the bulb and sprout again is considered a biannual. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you have learned something new, and hopefully that has cleared up some confusion around those three terms that I seem to get a lot of questions on. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And if you do have any more comments, questions, or concerns, or words that you don't understand, post them in the comments box below and I'd be glad to answer them. And as always, this is Luke from MIgardener, hoping you all are growing big or going home. I'll talk to you all later. See ya. Bye.